saying he used to tell my four sisters and I that if you're going to sing a song, one, you got to believe in it. You've got to believe what you're singing, or those you're singing to won't believe you. And two, if you're going to sing to them, make sure they can understand what you're singing. Other than that, sing anything you want. He didn't say just to, but have those two things in mind and learn and play whatever you want. I'm grateful for that. This is the way the old man used to do this. You know what? I got to sit down. I got a bad back. Normally, I don't see my father, Cale, you give me a chair for a minute. My father always played like this. I have no idea why. And I never asked him. But this is the way my old man used to play. He never used a guitar strap. Take it back. Anyway, Dad born here, at the age of 7, he was crossing the street and there was a blind black straight musician who needed to be crossed. My old man was raised properly, he crossed the man. The man's name was Arnold, sorry. And he asked my father what his name was. My father said Joshua, and he sang Joshua at the Battle of Jericho to him right then and there, which I'm sure my dad heard before since his father was a minister, but still, it was very cool. Then he asked my old man if he'd like to lead him after school for, it varies from $2 a week, $4 a week. At first when I heard the story, it was $2 a week. It's gone up to $4, who knows? But my old man said, of course he can't do anything unless his mother said so. So he took blind man Arnold to his mother and asked if he could take this man out. And my grandmother said that she named him Joshua. Maybe someone that can overcome and do good. And then, so she said she had to pray over it. And I just can imagine this 7-year-old waiting for his mother to get a word from God. I can see this little boy saying, she did say yes. And my old man started his adventure. And from the age of 9 until 16 and a half, he led 66 different blind black musicians. None of them taught him how to play, not a one. And I'm sure how the old man did it. Whenever at night the street musician go off without his guitar and do whatever he does with a guitar, he'd leave it and the old man would play it. Sometimes it was in an open tuning where you tune the guitar to a chord or tune regularly. So he just would play by himself and learn how to play. No one really taught him how to play. And another little difference with my old man's guitar playing is that he uses all 5 fingers, even the pinky. Very few people will use all 5 fingers. Anyway, so Dad was asked by the last man he led, blind man Arnold, took him to Chicago, where Arnold was recording, but they allowed my old man to record one song on his album, on Arnold's album. They split up. Dad went back came back here to Greenville. When he was in Chicago, he was still wearing short pants and no shoes. And the label said, you put some shoes on that boy or pants, we're not going to record you at all. And that's the reason, because they threatened this man. This man would have left my old man, Chicago, no shoes, give me a break. Anyway, so Dad went back home after the session in Chicago with Blind Man Arnold. And then the label, which became Paramount, I think was Ash label at the time, heard this young 14-year-old and wanted more of it and came down to Greenville to ask my father to come record. And of course, my grandmother had to decide whether he was going to do it or not. And she said yes. He could only sing spiritual, and he couldn't sing, she called it the devil's music. But there was another term I can't remember. Couldn't sing. No, can't. All right, of course. So my father started recording under the name of Joshua White, the Singing Christian. He was popular. My old man was popular. In fact, he used a couple of others' names to use because as much as he liked spirituals, he'd been out on the road and he knew there were other songs. And that he wanted to sing them. But he knew his mother. So, all of us, back then, you would have a record with one person on one side and someone differently on the other. So at times there could be Joshua White, the singing Christian, and on the other side was a blues singer named Pinewood Tom. I don't know if he fooled his mother, but God bless him to try and do that. So then my old man went to New York and recorded, and he found my mother in the Bronx, and they got married. The dad never lived back here again. He'd come down to see my grandmother, but New York was his home, and he was the first person to bring folk music into a nightclub. Before that, you heard that music in Carnegie or in concert halls. He brought it into the nightclub. My old man was the first person to do that. And I'll do this song later about how he met President Roosevelt. Interesting story. What else do I want to tell you about my old man? He recorded with many different labels in his years. And when he did find Elektra, that was a wonderful thing. Times were a little hard for the old man. In the 50s, we had the Blacklist, and we had the, what's his name, that man? McCarthy. But the thing is, before he was corrected, he heard a lot of careers. So my father could not find a lot of work here in the States. And it's not that venues did not want him, but it was called Red Channels. And they had a book out of those people they said were communists. That's lovely. They said it, so you have to be. My God. So a lot of joints would not hire him because they didn't want that to come down on their venue. And that's when my father started working Europe and England and Sweden and all of the crap that my dad had to deal with here. They didn't even care about it. It was silly. They knew it was silly. So we still maintained ourselves, but the old man wasn't working a lot here. And then in 1958, the Kingston Trio sang, "Here I am, Tom Dooley." That brought a resurgence to folk music, and that in fact helped my old man to get back to where he was. And so I like the fact that his last few years, my old man was 55 when he died. But his last years he enjoyed because he was doing what he did best. And that was picking up that guitar and telling you a story. He did this way.